Adding a motion blur effect to your photographic arsenal can break you free of the monotony of shooting the same old images you're used to constantly shooting. They can also save you on set with a client when they're looking for something new, something refreshing, and best of all, it's just a great exercise to learn something new. I use this technique for about 5 minutes every shoot, and if it's working, a lot longer. And because of that, I've developed a completely new technique that I can pretty much nail every time I do it. What's going on, guys? My name's Corey Vanderploeg at CoreyPhoto on Twitter and Instagram. If you want great tips on the art of image making, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Let's get into it. Making it a part of your workflow. Every time I'm shooting, I try something new and weird, even if it's just a few minutes. Sometimes you strike absolute gold and you look like a genius on set. Other times you strike out, it doesn't work, and you just keep going on with the shoot. But now you have something to analyze when you're done shooting to figure out how you can make it better next time, which is a huge part of shooting. Taking the time to reflect on what worked and what didn't work. Generally, doing this self-reflecting when reviewing your RAWs or contact sheets. If you look at my work, you'll see motion blur creeping in through my storytelling in various ways. Using it to amplify motion to the subject. Using it to create drama with a still subject. Mixing it with a strobe to create work of art that people aren't quite sure how you did it. The most important thing is to step outside of your comfort zone every time you shoot. That is the only way for growth. Adding motion blur to your workflow is a perfect small exercise to quickly jump out of your comfort zone for 5 minutes and go back to what you were doing. If done often, you're generally rewarded with a divine accident that creates a breathtaking photograph. From there, you can learn how to hone your new idea until it becomes clockwork, and you can make this constant effect every time. Because what is a professional photographer if they can't recreate something you've shot before? Most jobs I'm commissioned for already have my images built into a deck or a mood board when the project is pitched to me, so I have to be able to recreate that same style and visual signature time and time again. Be prepared to fail. Failing is the only thing that every top photographer has in common. It's about being able to use that failure to learn something new and turn it into a positive. This small little exercise might not feel like much, but the first time you try it, it will be weird, awkward, not quite right, and probably far from what you visualized. This is key. You can take it back to the drawing board, try it again, do it a little better, repeat it until it's mastered. This is an amazing workflow to get used to. So once you've tried it with one effect, what's to stop you from doing it over and over again? Execution. I shoot mostly natural light or constant light, so my camera settings are generally set to something around 400 ISO, 1/25th of a shutter speed, and around 5.6 or 5.8 for a normal image. To do this effect, I crank the f-stop to 16 or 22 and crank down the shutter speed to something around 30th of a second or 10th of a second. What this does is allow your sensor more time to let light hit it, and if you're exposed properly, you'll get a blurry image. But it's how you use that it's important. Here are my 3 favorite ways. Capturing motion. When a subject's moving, I'm moving my camera with them to stay in the middle of the frame the best they can. And when the subject is moving at the same pace and distance that your camera is, it gives the illusion of movement by keeping the subject relatively sharp and blurring out the background. Adding motion to a still image. I use this one a lot. Letting the subject be still and moving your camera while the shutter is open to create this drag effect. It can be used to create abstract images, to add movement. The key is to experiment and see what you like. Adding motion to a still image with a strobe. This one's great. Treat the image like a previous effect, except add a strobe with a light pop. What this does is it freezes the image. You'll see you get the same effect as our previous method, except the strobe light freezes the image when it pops, and it gives you an even sharper, more distinct subject. I usually shoot to let the strobe pop, then I'll jerk the camera to get the desired effect as seen in these images. There's no real way to tell you how to set the camera or exactly how to do this effect. It's mostly all feel and experimentation. The only way to get good at it is by experimenting often. And when you do have a shoot set up, if it's a creative or a client hired shoot, don't be afraid to try something out of your comfort zone, even if it is just for 5 minutes. That short amount of time will teach you more than one of my YouTube videos ever could. If you have any questions about this entire process, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Corey Vanderploeg at CoreyPhoto on Twitter and Instagram. Happy shooting.